Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the great pleasure to be joined by my friend Kyle Collier. He is the producer of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and in this video, we are going to talk about the latest update on Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice. So, Kyle, we just got the update that Rashee Rice just got sentenced to 5 years of probation and 30 days in jail. I want to get your instant reaction to this news.
Yeah, my instant reaction was it's about time, because this has been a question on Chiefs fans' minds and Kansas City media's minds for it feels like years now, but ever since this incident on the highway in Dallas happened, we've been wondering when is this happening? Now, it sounds like he settled, all five civil cases against him. He will have to spend that 30 days, but he can pick and choose when it's going to happen. So let's say here in like a week or so, the NFL comes down, bam, 4 game suspension. He can serve the 30 days within there. But my instant reaction is how many games are we going to see Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown all on the field together? Because so
That's a
far
great
it's
question.
zero. It's zero
Yeah.
so far.
Well, that's such a great question because last year the Chiefs dealt with a ton of injuries, and this year it's like, okay, Rashee Rice was probably going to be suspended. Now, how many games he ends up getting, I think it's probably going to be within 2 to 4. I'd be shocked if he got 6 to 8, but, the NFL could do really whatever they want. They don't really have a cut and dry way of dealing with this. And my
Right.
biggest fear is that they might say, oh my gosh, Rashee Rice did this. We want to set an example against the best team in the league and just really, throw the hammer down.
Yeah. Yeah, and which is why the only way I'll be shocked is if it's zero, because like you said, Rasheed Rice is probably inches away from a Henry Ruggs type of situation, where he could have seriously hurt and killed somebody. The NFL is not going to stand for that, and the punishment they hand down to Rasheed Rice is going to be very telling for how they choose to police their league going forward.
When on the criminal side of things, 5 years probation, 30 days in jail, I think he got off pretty light. And the civil
Yeah.
case, he ended up paying out like $1 million in damages. And again, those are civil damages, not criminal damages. So it's like, all things considered, Rashee Rice is pretty lucky that he got the sentencing that he did.
Yeah, and being a second round pick, and I don't want to speculate about a man's money, but the bank account's got to be feeling a little bit dry right now. And once he gets past all of this, you got to think he's going to jump at probably the first extension offer that gets handed to his agent, just for that security, I think I trust in the Chiefs' culture and coaching staff and the people around Rashee Rice that he'll move on from this. He'll be a better man going forward. But uh, on the field, it's going to be an interesting scenario because who the hell knows what the NFL is thinking and when they're going to punish him in the Chiefs and the time frame is very important here. We just have to wait for the NFL.
When you mentioned it, like the Chiefs are going to have a chance to extend Rashee Rice, and they're going to kind of get that Tyreek Hill hometown discount. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be a really good thing. Do you think there's a situation where the Chiefs almost run to try to get an extension done with Rashee Rice to kind of get it out of the way?
Yes, but I think this year they may have to go this year, stay healthy, this offseason, stay out of trouble, and then we'll get to it. So I still think it's a little bit down the line, although he's going into year 3 now. That's right. Going into year 3 as a second round pick, they very well could do that, during this season or at the end, pretty early into next year's offseason.
I think the health is a very big concern because, while we're talking about the thing that happened in 2024 in Dallas, he did tear, his knee last year and it was basically out after week 4. And so his health is going to be a big question this year. And it kind of sucks that this, incident that happened over a year and a half ago is still following him and the Chiefs because we were all excited that he was going to have a bounce back 2025 and kind of showcase what he could do before he got hurt last year. So I do want to talk more about Rashee Rice and a possible suspension, and we'll do that right after this ad break. The Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway is the place to be. With over 1,500 slot machines, 35 table games, 4 restaurants, and a new ESPN Bet sportsbook, there are plenty of ways to find your fun. For more chances to win, follow them on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. At Rice Real Estate Group, they're more than just a real estate team. They're a full-service partner in residential, commercial, and investment properties. They specialize in guiding clients through every stage, from the buying and selling process to handling complex, short sale situations with ease. Their passion lies in the personal one-on-one care they bring to every client relationship, ensuring each experience is tailored, smooth, and successful. Here it's all about building trust, delivering expertise, and ensuring every client feels valued throughout their journey. For more information, call Marla Rice at 816-819-9333. Huge thanks to the sponsors that support this show all offseason long. Now, Kyle, I asked this question to the fan base earlier on in a video that I did a couple days ago. Rashee Rice has to serve 30 days in county jail. Now, that doesn't have to be concurrent. It could be any time. If you had to serve 30 days in county jail, how would you break it up?
Oh, man. I'd go one of two ways. I'd probably go 5 days a week and give myself the weekends, right?
Okay.
Or I'd just knock out all 30, It'd just be like, I deserve the punishment, let's just knock it out so I can get on with my life,
Well, and I think that if you did that first 5 days, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And then you get that little
break.
Weekend, that little break. But the way that my mind works is my Sunday is going to be filled with, oh my gosh, I have to go back. I've got to go back for the next 5 days. So I'd almost just do the whole thing 30 straight days and then just hate my life and then get out after.
Yeah, I do the 30. Yeah, now that I think about it, I do the 30 because you're right. That feeling of dread you feel on Sunday. Sundays are supposed to be fun days, right? But
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to watch football, right? And then be like, oh, yeah, I got to be at the county jail at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Well, he's not going to be able to watch or play football if he ends up
That's
taking
right.
that deal. So, yeah,
That's right.
I think it's interesting. There was also someone that proposed the idea of like going in at like 10 o'clock at night and just sleeping until like 6 and then leaving. I don't know. Listen, I've never been to jail. I've never been to county jail. I can't imagine that sleeping on a cot with the lights turned on is all that fun. So I'd probably just suck it up and do all 30 days straight.
Yeah,
But
and you don't know how that jail, how they count the hours you put in. You don't know how they're doing that. So I'd go in, just say, give me the full 30. Just make sure I have lunch delivered to my cell.
Yeah, well, whatever that lunch ends up being. I don't even know what they serve in county jail, but it's probably not that good. And it's in Texas. I think it's in Texas. So, it's probably not going to be the most fun month that Rashee Rice has spent. But at the same time, I think, again, he's getting off with a pretty light sentence, and he's going to have the opportunity to play in 2025. And I think that, with all of this off-the-field stuff going on, we're kind of forgetting about the level of expectations that we had. Like, just 2 months ago, or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how Rashee Rice could have, like, 1,200 yards receiving and, lead the team in touchdowns and maybe be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Do you think a possible suspension, we'll just be conservative and say 4 games? I think that's a safe guess. If he's suspended for the first 4 games of the season, give me like a realistic final stat line for 2025.
That's a great question. I actually want to look up the Chiefs' schedule to aid my answer in that.
I know that they play in Sao Paulo. They play in New York. Do they play the Eagles?
They got Chargers. They got Eagles. Then they've got Giants on Sunday Night Football, and then they've got Baltimore. Okay, so with your scenario, he's gone for the first 4 weeks. After that, I feel pretty good about him being able to put up monster numbers because we saw it last season. I think only Nico Collins from Houston was the only guy outpacing him in receiving yardage last year. Nico Collins ended up getting hurt, and obviously Rashee Rice did as well. But last year, Rashee Rice was numbers-wise on pace to be a top 4 or 5 receiver in the game. And looking at the offense this year, I'm not going to have any expectations for Hollywood Brown because, frankly, we have just barely seen him on the field. And this year, Travis Kelsey's involvement in the offense is likely going to dictate, how big a numbers Rashee Rice can pick up. If they have to scale back the veteran tight end, Rashee Rice's numbers are going to explode even more.
And if
And
he's suspended
clearly,
for 4 games, he's still going to play in 13 of them.
right, exactly. And clearly, last year, the focus of the offense was built around Rasheed Rice. I mean, those four games, you couldn't keep him out of the end zone and just catching the ball, whether it was short yardage or a slant to the middle of the field. But Rasheed Rice, that's why the offense partly was so unable to get anything going last year. Is because Andy Reid built that for Rasheed Rice as his key component. This year, it'll be interesting because, like we've already talked about, Andy Reid doesn't know when this suspension is going to be coming. So we'll see how heavily involved he is when he initially makes his return to the offense. But I would say 3 or 4 games in, he's back to that number one option.
And do you really? So I heard a theory, or maybe it was just a rumor, that the legal team of Rasheed Rice decided to push for this ruling now so that the NFL would get a ruling on a suspension before the season started. So he gets suspended, in I guess September and October,
Yeah.
and not November and December.
And that's a theory I would absolutely believe because I think it helps not only the player but also the Chiefs. They would love to know what they're dealing with. More than us Kansas City media and Kansas City fans, the Chiefs want to know what the hell is going to happen because they want to be able to plan for this season. And Rasheed Rice should be, like I've already said, a key cog in that offense.
Well, in last year, when the Chiefs lost Hollywood Brown, when the Chiefs lost Rasheed Rice, it was already, week 4 of the regular season. But when the Chiefs lost Hollywood Brown in the preseason,
Yeah.
you saw them sign Juju Smith-Schuster, who got cut from New England very quickly thereafter. Do you think there's a situation where the Chiefs maybe monitor the wide receivers that get cut on that final cutdown day? And if Rasheed Rice is gone for the first 4 games of the season, maybe they go out and sign one of those guys?
Yeah, and that's something that Brett Veach has been prone to do when final roster decisions are made. And obviously, we saw him waive Justin Ross, or Justin Ross requested his release, right? But Kansas City's wide receiver depth chart right now, I feel pretty good about 1 through 3, right? And then 4, Juju Smith-Schuster, we know what we're getting in him. So I feel pretty solid 1 through 4, actually. 5 and 6, yeah, there are definitely some spots I would say that are up for grabs. Sky Moore, second round pick, but that's about all to his name right now. And then anybody else behind him, not really. So I do think there will be 2 or 3 spots up for grabs.
And maybe they go out in free agency and sign like an Amari Cooper or a Keenan Allen. Probably not. They might look at bringing somebody back that has some familiarity with this offense. The Chiefs like to fill these positions in-house, and so I think they'll probably be content with the guys they have. But you might see a guy like Tyquan Thornton or Nico Remigio or Sky Moore, who wouldn't normally make the team because of this suspension. And that's good for them, not good for the Chiefs' depth, but I think that's kind of the situation that they're in right now. So, Kyle, before we get out of here, do you have anything else you want to add about this Rashee Rice possible suspension?
We've really run through it already. Now I'll shift my focus to I'll go to fantasy football because I was huge on Rasheed Rice last year, mainly thanks to my host Soren Petro, who told me to buy in. Right, this year it's going to be a little bit different. He's going to slide a couple of rounds. So, but that being said, I still think he's going to be a major part of the offense. So buy while you can.
I was going to say, he's going to be available in those later rounds, and if you get the chance, listen, he's probably only going to miss the first month of the season. There's 13 other games. I mean, if he averages 80 yards a game, he's well over 1,000. So
Yeah.
I definitely think that, buy that Rashee Rice stock while it's low. But, Kyle, that's all the time we have in this video. My final question for you is, where can the people find your stuff?
Follow me on Twitter at Kyle Collier _810 and listen to me on the program on Sports Radio 810 weekdays from 2 to 6.
And guys, all that stuff will be linked in the description of this video. Hit that like button, subscribe for more daily Chiefs content. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching, and as always, go Chiefs.